By having boundaries, it makes you more expensive. It makes you more in demand.
Supply and demand, bitches.
And I've seen you on stages in front of hundreds and maybe even thousands of people talk about the power of LinkedIn, even though you've been on it for a year.
My organization was doing about, I don't know, in a good month, like $50,000 a month, okay? We're now easily into $250,000 a month exclusively because of referral and word of mouth and proactive outbound sales on LinkedIn.
5x, guys.
Yeah, 5x, easy.
5x in 12 months.
Yeah. You have to treat yourself as a service provider as the product, okay? We hear personal brand all the time, but oftentimes we don't take care of the product. There's an F1 car racer. I guess that's what they're called, like a race car driver, F1, okay? Do they show up and are like, I guess we'll turn it on right at the start of the race? No, there's an entire pit crew that meticulously takes care of this car, because without the car, there is no race. I would sacrifice anything and everything to appease anyone because I was so desperately scared of potentially losing business. Now, it then caused me to be incredibly anxious, incredibly stressed, panic attack, and then putting on a fake smile and be like, oh my God, hey girls, what's up? Let's get to work, right? It wasn't until I said, Tyler, you are the product and you're a 10 out of 10 that I started to be able to say no and also allow myself the ability without guilt to take care of myself. And that's the gospel according to Tyler.
Clever Crew, today we are joined by someone who is not only a leader and expert in brand building and digital marketing, but a personal friend and colleague in the industry, Tyler Mount. Tyler's worked with nearly 1,000 clients across 14 countries, and has a track record that speaks for itself. From collaborating with Ryan Serhant to the founder of Zillow to branding portfolios worth over $7 billion with a B, Tyler's insights are nothing short of game-changing. As the owner of Henry Street Creative, a top creative agency, Tyler helps professionals and businesses design brands that don't just stand out, but dominate. In this episode of Not Nice Clever, he shares his no-fluff approach to branding, content creation on LinkedIn, and building a business empire. Let's please welcome to the show, Tyler Mount.
Tyler. Where do we even begin? Clever Crew, buckle up. I think that's the only warning we're going to give. This is Tyler Mount. You are on Not Nice Clever. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for making time in your busy schedule, because I'm sure your schedule looks like Tetris on steroids these days.
It does, but you know, for two ladies as close to my heart as Kat and Candace, the answer is always yes. So here I am. It took 3 months, but we're here. We're in the same room together. Good to see you.
What is time anyway? Thank you. So we have some great content for the crew this afternoon, evening, morning, wherever and whenever you're listening to. I think I want to begin first on a platform that you actually taught me a lot about, Tyler, which is LinkedIn. Because before I listened to you keynote at a past Salt Lake Serhant event, and before I started listening to all of your content about it, I just used it to polish up my resume. And I thought that it was just where people went to update their resume when they were looking for a job. That was my perception. I'm sure that might be the perception of a lot of folks in our Clever Crew. So talk to us about LinkedIn. How do you look at it? How to use it? And also why LinkedIn? I feel like we need to start with the why.
Okay, so let me roll up my sleeves and get real nerdy, okay? So the first thing everyone listening should know is I'm not coming to you as like the LinkedIn savant. I haven't used this for a decade. I literally started really around like September, October of 2023. We're recording this in December of 2024. For all of you who are doing the math, that's like 12 months, 14 months, okay? So this is a new endeavor for me. But when I tell you the prolific impact it's had on my career and my business and the career and the businesses of the people that I'm fortunate enough to represent and coach is astronomical. So to answer your first question, the reason I love LinkedIn so much is because of the culture of the platform. And let me explain what I mean. On Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, we're always trying to proactively get followers, right? And we have no real way to do that other than being consistent and showing up and creating content and being relatable enough for someone to want me to appear in their feed every day, right? The differentiation on LinkedIn and the reason that I love it so much is that for a lack of a better word, on LinkedIn, we can quote unquote choose our followers. Now, look, that's not entirely factually accurate because yes, I have to send Kat a friend request or a connection request. And yes, she of course has to accept that for us to be connected. But the culture on LinkedIn is such that for selfish, self-interested reasons, the majority of consumers, you and me included, will accept the majority of all requests that come in, regardless of if we know them or not. Why? Because if a real estate agent, who is my consumer, the people that I work with and coach, come to me on LinkedIn and say, I want to connect with you, I'm always accepting that request because somewhere in the back of my head, I think, what if they want to work with me? Okay. And that in itself is the reason I love LinkedIn, because we have an unprecedented ability to connect with the people that are our consumers in a way that you can't on any other platform. So that's number one. Number two, to your point, Kat, is I'm going to be over hyperbolic here and simple, but
You
never, right? Me, the two major groups of people.
I mean, we're definitely going to have that in the show notes.
We'll have it in the show notes. If you couldn't tell, there's some drama here, okay? But the two major categories of consumers on LinkedIn, right, are, I don't want to say entry level, but I will say, I'll say entry level here, okay? Non-executive individuals who are job searching and looking for career advancement, okay? Number one, those are the old cats, right? Who are like, I'm going to update my resume because I need to apply to a corporate job. Okay. America Capitalism 101. That's group one. And it serves a really fantastic purpose on LinkedIn. The other portion, what we call our decision makers, right? The decision makers. I am hopefully never applying for a job again on LinkedIn. I don't have LinkedIn to apply for jobs. I have LinkedIn to show accountability, accreditation, okay, and to increase my online perception, okay? And the way I do that is, and we'll talk about it here shortly, but selectively and consistently adding people who I want to connect with on LinkedIn, but also showing up in this space as a thought leader, right? Me showing up every single day, or at least 3 times a week, posting some level of thought leadership content that can put us in the right space. So when people get my friend request and they show up, they go, oh, Tyler is the real deal because of X, Y, and Z. Is it true or not? I don't care, right? It's about the perception of when they hit that page for that additional vote of confidence.
Let's talk about thought leadership for a little bit, because I think that some people in the Clever Crew have the misconception that thought leadership is for someone who's been in the industry for 20 years and knows everything possible. You could never ask them a question that's going to trip them up. But you just said that you've been on LinkedIn for 14 months, and I've seen you on stages in front of hundreds and maybe even thousands of people talk about the power of LinkedIn, even though you've been on it for a year. Okay. So let's talk about thought leadership, maybe like break down that misconception that someone has to give you approval to become a thought leader, or you have to be in something for a certain amount of time. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you first described, this idea of this avatar of the person who's done it for 30 years and is the world's only leading expert on this and can never get tripped up, is the definition of like a textbook writer, okay, who happens to also be a thought leader, okay?
Yeah.
An entry-level analyst at a Fortune 100 company, one of 10,000 analysts, can still be a thought leader because the way they approach their work is unique to them, right? It's not about experience, it's about vantage, right? How can I look through another lens to see how someone else works? Right? And so that is what I really stress. I hear all the time, well, Tyler, I'm this, or Tyler, I'm that, which is always, self-deprecating and self-limiting beliefs. My answer is that you, individual, okay, as an entry-level professional, but a mom, have a different vantage point than I do. Entry-level, but a rehabilitated felon who is back on the street and reliving their lives, fantastic. You have a different vantage point and lens to tell the same story through, and that makes you a thought leader, right? And the last part about this that I think is really important to note is the fact that everyone's experience is unique, and everyone and I mean everyone, has a place on all social platforms because their tribe is there. They just have to scream authentically loud enough, right? And so whenever you look at my thought leadership content, I use the word thought leadership because that's just, I guess, how I define it at this point, isn't always or rarely ever the most prolific, life-changing advice you've never heard before. It's how maybe I approach my business, or how I approach vacation, or a reel that I just posted, giving a little bit more professional context to it. My job is to show up in the space and authentically double down on who I am and what I stand for. And like I always say, if I don't do that, how do I expect my tribe to be able to find me?
I think that word, authenticity, is one that I have seen and heard and felt you use so many times. And I think it has become a buzzword. But what I love about how you use it and how you show it is that, because we've known each other, we've been friends and peers and colleagues for, gosh, over 3 years now. Clever Crew and anybody listening or watching, like how Tyler talks in his LinkedIn posts and how he is, the photos he shares, it's legit like what he could have texted Candace and I. Like I feel like I'm having a conversation with the same Tyler. His, your jargon's there, your flair is there, your, relentless optimism is there. You're the same person in this mystical online space as you are like if you were to just privately text me. And I think that's a huge lesson in authenticity. And I wanted to share that because that takes guts to do.
I mean, like, look, I deeply appreciate that. People on my team, I haven't noticed that, right? It's true, but it's not something that I've called to my own attention. But people on my team will tell me one of my superpowers, and what I strive to have other people's superpower be, is the fact like you get Tyler, the same Tyler, no matter where you are. I talk to my parents the same way I talk to the two of you, the same way I would talk to you over margaritas, the same way I talk to a billionaire who I'm trying to get a contract from in a boardroom, right? And to be clear, to your point, that took a long time. And frankly, I deeply believe that level of authenticity, not always, but oftentimes is a byproduct of trauma, okay? And I'm not here to trauma dump. There is no look, my therapist would be really mad if I said this isn't real trauma, because it is. All problems are problems, okay? But that is true. But coming from small town Texas, 300 people, one stoplight, being a closeted Broadway-loving gay boy who just desperately wanted to be a part of something bigger. Look, I wasn't ostracized. I wasn't a case, of violence due to my, sexual orientation. Like, that's not my narrative. But feeling other than, and feeling like I had to be something other than who I was for a long time to fit in, even though that probably wasn't rooted in truth, is a huge reason as to why I deeply give zero fucks who you are. I am the same level of respectful. I am the same level of caring to every single human being. And this vibe that you're getting right now is the vibe that is Tyler through and through. On a date with you for margaritas or with a billionaire CEO, I like deeply don't care. Because this goes back to what I preach all the time. If you don't want this version of Tyler, which we could sit here and describe as dramatic and over the top, and to your point, optimistic and dedicated and all of those things, I'm deeply not offended. I get it. If you need someone who's like really chill, I am not your person. And by me showing up in a room, okay, and trying to get the contract because I think Kat wants me to be chill, and me being like, hey guys, how are you? You'd be like, where the fuck did Tyler go? Right? And ultimately, you're going to set yourself up for failure, because when I eventually show up as Tyler, they're going to be like, this is not what I signed up for. So all of that, I think, is encompassing. And that is really my life's work, which is, it sounds kind of dramatic, but it is. It's like, how can I get everyone who I work with to be their authentic version of themselves, no matter who they're with?
Okay. So reeling back from healing the world through authenticity as your life's purpose and legacy. No, legit. I'm here for it. I love it. Legacy, loyalty, connection, all of that. We need more of that in this world. Let's talk to the novice LinkedIn user. Where would they even begin? Understanding that they've got these mindset blocks, potential self-limiting beliefs. What are some easy next steps that somebody could take to start to show up more on that platform?
Love this. Okay. So let's take care of a little bit of housekeeping and then let's do
Yes.
3 very easy steps. Now, before I get into this, you've probably heard me say this publicly and I've never been proven wrong and it's not going to start today. Okay. Out of everyone listening, 5% of you will do this. 95% of you will not do this and then complain about the market in 2025. Okay. This is maybe 15 minutes of work, right, per week. And when I tell you, whenever I started this in October of 2023, my organization was doing about, I don't know, in a good month, like $50,000 a month. Okay. We're now easily into $250,000 a month exclusively because of referral and word of mouth and proactive outbound sales on LinkedIn. Okay. So I want everyone listening.
5x, guys.
Yeah, 5x, easy.
5x in 12 months.
Yeah. And so I want to dangle that carrot before I start talking to you about this, okay?
Now they're going to pay attention.
Here's to hoping, okay? So the first thing we have to do in terms of housekeeping is make sure the profile is optimized. Now, LinkedIn is good in the sense that there's like not that much you can really do to optimize your profile, right? We're not talking about Instagram. We're not talking about TikTok. Okay. We need to make sure you have an updated real lifestyle headshot. Okay. We need to ensure that you have a banner there.
Oh, not an AI headshot where you have like 12 fingers.
Or like the weird photoshopped, like where the white background and you're just floating in the ether. Like we don't want that.
We don't want that. We don't want you in a suit and tie in front of a white background. Like that's deeply not what we're going for. Okay. Showing up authentically. We need a profoundly accurate third person biography that accreditates you. And then we need your experience to look like a resume, right? You saying that you're the grocery store manager, which is a true story. One of my clients, I looked at their Instagram,
I remember
one of the top brokers in a very competitive market in the United States. I was like, in what world do you think this is appropriate? Right? So the first thing is just housekeeping, right? Then once we have the profile in a spot that you want people to go to, this is when I get into my 3 very, very simple black and white steps. And it's as easy as it sounds. Number 1, we are going to add 20 consumers a day. Consumers meaning people in your audience. For example, I work almost exclusively with real estate agents. The only people I'm adding on LinkedIn every single day, real estate agents. Okay. And there are millions of them. You can only add 100 a week. That's what LinkedIn limits you to. So look, I could do this every single week until I died and still have more real estate agents. Okay. 20 a day, 100 a week. That is literally a 5-minute a week task. You spend more time heating up your shower water. Okay. That's number 1. Super easy. If you're doing the math, by the end of the year, you have the potential, you won't, but you have the potential to add 5,200 new people in your market, in your area that want to transact with you. That is insane. Number 1. Number 2 is, to my previous point, start creating thought leadership content. Okay. I don't want you to overthink this. I'll say there are 3 major categories. The first category is content that surrounds a current topic. Okay. Forbes releases an article that the Feds cut the interest rate. Great. You share that article, but not like every other real estate agent or professional on earth does by sharing that and posting it. You share the Forbes article and you say, thanks to my friends at Forbes, I really love their optimism for the 2025 market based on the Fed's most recent cut. Here are 3 ways I think it's going to impact home buying in 2025. Boom. We didn't think of the topic because Forbes did it for us. But what we did do is we posted it and either validated or argued against what the topic of the conversation is. That's number 1. That's the easiest place to start because you don't have to come up with the topic. Number 2 is what I call generic thought leadership content. That is where I feel most comfortable. And let's be clear, when you see me on LinkedIn, hearing me on this podcast, I write the same way on LinkedIn. I have the power to be much more professional and buttoned up, but that's not who I am on LinkedIn.
That's not you,
right?
Yeah.
So like the OMGs, hey girls, please take a look at me petting a giraffe, which we'll get to here in a second. Okay. Is 100% who I am on LinkedIn, but I always apply it back to some level of business or personal philosophy. Right. And I'm constantly inspired because I've gotten into the place of I'm a full-time content creator, as I know the two of you have as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I am talking to one of my team members and I say something that I'm like, wow, that was good, I write it down because I'm going to use it on LinkedIn the next week, okay? That's number 2. And then number 3 is long form content. And I happen to be in a room with the queen of long form LinkedIn content, one Kat Torrey, okay? Because I would rather die than write long form content. Kat is the opposite of me, and she loves longer form content and more of editorial op-ed style. That is fantastic, and that provides significantly more value, more, bang for your buck, right? Those are the 3 major categories. Short form content that deals with topical content, short form content that is generic thought leadership that's inspired by your everyday life. And then number 3 is like long form editorial content. So we've added 20 people a day, 100 people a week into your target consumer base. That's number 1. Number 2, we're posting at least once a week, ideally twice to 3 times a week on LinkedIn. Okay. And then number 3, and this is where I lose everyone. Okay. Number 1 and number 2 is easy because it requires no discomfort and you hiding behind your camera. What is the purpose of social, Kat and Candace? It's to connect, build relationships. It's not to sell, right? And so what I've done thus far is created no connection and no relationship. So what I do is when anyone accepts that friend request, the 20 I send a day, they get a message from me in true Tyler fashion, no matter who you are, okay? It's something to the fact of, OMG, I'm so glad our friendship is official. How is business in Miami, Chicago, wherever, okay? The amount of people who reply to that message because it's authentic and it's not sales focused is uncanny. And then this is where I get to the caveat. Once I start having a conversation with them, my number 1 goal is to get them in a relationship building activity, which is literally a 5-minute phone call or Zoom. Okay. I have a special Calendly link that allows me to do 9 of these calls a week. I do 9 religiously every single week. We're booked all the way through January. Okay. And the goal here is for me to get on a phone call with, let's say, you, Kat. Okay. You and I shoot the shit. I ask you where you are. You go, I'm at Sirhan. I go, oh my God, tell me what you're doing at Sirhan's office. Oh, that's so fantastic. How is that going? Lovely. And then hang up the phone, right?
No
Not
pitch.
about me.
There's no pitch.
There's no pitch. And if you're looking to buy or sell, please call me, right?
Yeah.
It is just to build a relationship. And then I'm going to take some notes. And whenever something comes up that is in that realm of what you do, I'm absolutely messaging you about it. Oh, I just saw that Ryan Serhant got a $45 million seed investment. Made me think of you, right?
Yeah.
Made me think of you. Hope you're thriving. That level of relationship building, which took me maybe 30 seconds, is how Kat will eventually send me her business. So those are the 3 steps. We're going to add consumers consistently. We're going to do thought leadership content. And number 3, we're going to engage with our engagers and connect with our new connections. That's the only reason we're doing it. Those 3 things combined consistently over the course of months and months and months and months and months get you a really, really strong first person, first degree, and referral pipeline that can literally change your business.
5x Tyler's business in less than 12 months.
Yeah.
Have we gotten a mic drop yet? That was a mic drop moment.
It is. It's certainly game changing. I have a client who's leveraging this in a one of the highest price point markets in the world, right? A secondary home market. 3 listings in 6 months from this to the tune of like $66 million.
Is it in Dubai?
No, I wish it was in Dubai. No,
We'll manifest for Dubai.
We will. But like, that's the point, right? We're talking about, yes, her price point is very different than, traditional agents, but she connected with many people. Of those people across 6 to 9 months, 3 of them were like, oh my gosh, you're the real deal. I want to hang out with you, fellow housewife, in so many words. Okay. I want to shop with you. There we go.
Done.
You do 3% of 66 million. That's it. That's worth your time for 15 minutes a week.
Amazing.
Seriously.
Wow. Okay. So basically we should see everyone in our Clever crew on LinkedIn. We are expecting you to connect with us on LinkedIn, connect with Tyler on LinkedIn, and We can't
Send us
wait
an
to
authentic
see
message. Do
your
that third
thought
step.
leadership grow in that platform. And I'm sure Kat and I are going to take some of those tips as well.
Oh yeah, I saw Candace taking notes, and then this is recorded, and I'm going to play it back.
Oh yeah. We're going to definitely
Yeah.
be listening back to this. Okay, so I want to shift gears because as I was stalking you on LinkedIn, I mean, as you were authentically just coming up in my feed and kind of anywhere on social media, I saw a lot of pictures with you and mama and giraffes. And you went on this incredible trip to Africa, and you shared a lot also, not only about this trip, but like why you went on this trip, how it impacted you personally, professionally. And I want to kind of open up that conversation here because I know we can get so caught up in thinking we don't have time to take a break. Like you just 5x your business. Like who has time at that level to take a break and take a step back? That can be scary for a lot of people. So let's talk about why you decided to do this now.
That's a fantastic question. So, I'm talking to two people who, everyone is busy in this world. Okay. I am not unique in that.
Yeah.
Okay. I am talking to two people who deeply understand my calendar. I'm scheduled to 5 minutes of my life from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with clients. Okay. And it's also important to note, to your point, Candace, I bill like a lawyer, right? If I don't show up to the call, the company doesn't make money. Right. And similarly, there are a lot of people in, with varying careers in the Clever Crew, right? But for a lot of people who are working in the real estate industry, leaving for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks could be the difference in 1 or 2 commissions, right? And that's a lot of money. Okay. And I had to reconcile with the fact, like, yeah, that's possible. But the reason my schedule is the way it is not only for efficiency, but so that I can actually live, right? And live, as Team Sirhan always says, a limitless livelihood, right? And so with that context in mind, as someone who has the biggest guilt about taking off work, even when I'm ill, like I will literally take calls.
Oh my God, I know.
Yeah, I'm like bad.
Your laryngitis.
Yeah. I'm like, with strep, with laryngitis, with norovirus, I will still take calls. Okay. Exclusively because I'm terrified that the client will hate me or be disappointed in me for not showing up by being a human. Right. And so I know so many people identify with that concept, right? Especially real estate agents. If I don't drive 4 hours and re-roof the house myself, I'm going to lose this commission, right? The things I have heard sitting at this desk, I'm like, people, we need to calm down. So I was very lucky to be invited to a conference with Gary Vee and Jesse Eitzler in Dallas. I'm going to say right around October 2023. I had just started LinkedIn. And I heard Jesse Eitzler speak. And if you don't follow Jesse, you need to. He is a
We love him.
Entrepreneur, Zico Coconut Water, NextJet, I believe. He's married to the founder of Spanx, they're doing just fine. Okay. And he gave the most prolific keynote I've ever seen in my career because it was like keynote in theater, had a baby. And he talks about the power of soul, and he talks about the power of now. And this will sound familiar to probably everyone listening in some degree.
Kat and I saw that same talk in another city.
We
loved it. It was life-changing.
I was sobbing.
Yes. I was crying.
Yes,
I don't
same.
cry in public.
I was sobbing
Yeah.
at this man tell the story. And one of the morals of his story was, his mom always wanted to go see the castles in, I don't know, England or Ireland, I don't know. And he said, well, Mom, I can't right now because I'm building Zico, or I'm building NextJet, or now I have kids. We'll do it later. And guess what? Mom dies, right? All moms do. All of us do. That's how this ends for us, right? And he said, never again. Right. And he tells this beautifully poignant story about his dad who was suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia. And there was like 5 to 10 minutes a day that he was lucid. And on not the last day, but one of the last days of his dad's life, his dad, in these 5 minutes of being lucid, said he wanted to go swim. Now, you know what you don't do to a 95-year-old man in hospice who has dementia? You don't take him swimming. Like, that's not on the list. Right. And Jesse said, no, we're going swimming right now. We're going swimming right now. They put him in a pool. They put him in a chair in the pool. And of course, he's playing these videos and I'm sobbing. Okay. And in that moment, I was like, life's too short. I make too much money. I work too hard to not do the
Yep.
things that I want to do and my family wants to do. Okay. And for the longest time, I don't know why, please don't ask follow-up questions to this, but my mom loves giraffes. Okay. She's loved giraffes forever. I have a place in upstate New York, and there are like giraffe mementos that I purchased for her, like classy, not tacky giraffe mementos, but like gorgeous
Oh, we wouldn't expect nothing
brass
less.
statues of a giraffe in the dining room. Okay. Like cute. Okay. And so I spoke to my dad and I said, look, there are 100 places in the United States we could go see a giraffe. Okay. Like the San Diego Zoo. Got it. Okay. But if we're doing this, we might as well do it. So I want to take mom to Giraffe Manor. And Giraffe Manor, it was made very famous by Oprah in like the early 2000s because she went there with the crew. And then it's become like an influencer's mecca, right? They call themselves the most exclusive hotel on earth because they have 6 rooms and there's a 2.5-year wait list for everyone, including Oprah. Okay. And so I said, well, fuck it. Okay. We booked that trip in 2022. Okay. We just took it in November of 2024. Okay. So the first time that they had 3 rooms available for 2 nights, okay, was in about 2 years. So we, and let's be clear, my mom has left the country one time in her life, rarely leaves the state of Texas. Okay. We put her on a plane to Kenya. Okay. With my dad, and we went to Giraffe Manor, and my mom woke up and got to pet her giraffe. And that was a really, really special moment to me because it is a testament that I don't even know how much it cost. Okay. It wasn't cheap. Okay. Like I don't know how much the entire trip cost, and I deeply don't care. Right. Because again, this is not financial advice. Okay. And like, financial advice would be like, Tyler, you're an idiot. And like, I might be. Okay. But again, you can't take assets or debt with you. No, I didn't pay on debt, but like still, I'm like, it doesn't matter, guys. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So my mom got to pet her giraffe, and she will remember it for the rest of her life. And I will never have a regret that we didn't take her to pet the fucking giraffes. Okay. And I got to pet the giraffes too. And then we went to safari, and I got to meet the cast of The Lion King. And then we went and hiked in the mountains of Rwanda. And I got to witness with my own eyes, without a cage, 4 feet away, one of the last 12 remaining families of silverback gorillas in Africa. It was like out of this world. 10 days there and back, super easy. But it wasn't about vacation, okay? Because going to Africa and traveling every 2 days is not like super glamorous and luxurious and restful. It was about the experience. And that is my entire ethos. Because I always say that I want to be young and free forever, okay? But responsible, okay? And I think if you're not doing those things, then you're living a life that's less lived than it probably should be. So that's the power of petting the giraffes.
Amazing. And you can read more about that on LinkedIn if you want.
Yes, you can.
If you follow Tyler.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. I am sad here because we are coming to the end of our time with you, and there's just so many other things that I would love to talk to you about. But we have 2 things we have to put in the episode. So one is, we know people are going to listen to this and be like, wait, I need more Tyler in my life. So how do people work with you? How do they connect with you? What do you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, really exciting. My roster for private clients is full. Okay. But I have a wait list. So like, come on by, be my guest. Okay.
It might be less than 2.5 years of Giraffe Manor. We don't know. Just put your name. Yeah.
It will be less than 2.5 years.
There we go.
It will be less than 2.5 years. I absolutely promise you. You can visit me at tylergmount.com for anything consulting. Obviously, I'm an expert in terms of brand strategy and curation. That is everything from visual identity to website to all of those agency service you need to be successful in your business. And that's a company I own called Henry Street Creative. And you can visit them at henrystreetcreative.com. And I don't know when this episode is going live, but you're the first people I publicly shared this with ever.
What?
Okay. Next Friday. Okay. So a week from today, basically. Okay. I am going into production to film my online course that has a free LinkedIn crash course attached to it. So
Tyler,
if you're listening to this and you're a member of the Clever Crew, I'm going to hook Kat and Candace up with a free link. no catch, truly no catch. And we can put that in the show notes. And you can take a look at my upcoming LinkedIn course that you can take completely free and really dive into a few more of those strategies that we discussed today more granularly.
That's incredible. And Clever Crew, you better take advantage of that. And Kat and I will also be taking advantage of that. We had no idea.
We didn't know he was going to say that.
Congratulations,
guys.
Tyler.
Where's
That's
that
so
link?
exciting.
We haven't made it yet. It's
coming. Yeah.
So stall.
Great.
Stall.
Yeah.
Stall.
Okay. Not nice advice. Candace.
Not nice advice. This has become our favorite segment. And not nice advice is where one of our Clever Crew writes in, kind of Dear Abby style. And we ask our guest, you, Tyler Mount, to give the not nice advice straight to the point. We're not sugarcoating. I don't have to tell you that, but here we go.
That's in
Great.
his DNA.
I was like, you chose the wrong person if you needed something else. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
Hit me, Candace.
Okay.
I've been saying yes to every opportunity that comes my way because I'm scared of turning down money and risking losing future business opportunities. The problem is I'm completely drained and I'm working on projects that I don't even like. How do I get better at saying no? Saying yes, but feeling no. That's who it's from.
Love this. Okay, well, I have the answer for you because this is deeply something I struggled with until the middle of 2024, like 6 months ago. My therapist shared with me some of the best advice I've ever been given, and now I tell everyone as if it was my idea, okay? You have to treat yourself as a service provider as the product, okay? We hear personal brand all the time, but oftentimes we don't take care of the product. Does an F1 car racer, I guess that's what they're called, like a race car driver, F1, okay? Do they show up and are like, I guess we'll turn it on right at the start of the race? No, there's an entire pit crew that meticulously takes care of this car because without the car, there is no race. I would sacrifice anything and everything to appease anyone because I was so desperately scared of potentially losing business. Now, it then caused me to be incredibly anxious and incredibly stressed, panic attack, crying every morning, desperately not wanting to get out of bed, and then putting on a fake smile and be like, oh my God, hey girls, what's up? Let's get to work, right? And that felt so antithetical to who I am as a human being. Okay. It wasn't until I said, Tyler, you are the product and you're a 10 out of 10 that I started to be able to say no and also allow myself the ability without guilt to take care of myself. And the way I did this was very simple. I don't like the word time blocking and I don't like the word time blocking because I don't think it works. Kat,
okay,
it doesn't
excellent.
work.
Perfect.
Okay. I don't know one seasoned executive. Okay. Who is like, yeah, every single Wednesday from 9 to 11, I can guarantee I'm going to lead generate. No. Okay. If someone calls me and is like, I want $1 million bid on a project, I'm canceling whatever meeting I have. Right. So I have time blocks that are mandatory but flexible. And what I mean by that is, for example, today, okay, I take 6 client calls. I have an hour to work out. I have 30 minutes to shower and brush my teeth. You're welcome. Okay. From there, I have a 90-minute work hold. I have 3 15-minute sales calls. And then I have a 45-minute break for ad hoc things like this podcast. Kat, despite the fact that I adore you and love you, and your team obviously knows this firsthand. If you call me and say, Tyler, I really need your help at 7 p.m. tonight, my answer is going to be, I adore you, no. Not because I don't like Kat and not because I'm not dedicated, but because if I do that, I do it every day. And then that's an additional 10 hours of my week taken from me. Okay. And so I say all of that to say that boundaries, and I'm not talking about like this crazy, sorry, I'll be polarizing here, like Gen Z boundary of I'm going to work 4 hours a day and then complain. Like I don't adhere to that. I'm working 10 hours a day. Okay. So everyone be quiet. Number 2, okay, I have started to give myself grace, but also absolutely encourage myself to take time for me, including working out and showering and brushing my teeth, because if I don't feel good and I can't show up for my clients. And what a hypocrite does that make me? And then the third and final point that I absolutely have to stress here, on top of you being the product and you showing up for yourself, but by having boundaries, it makes you more expensive.
Yes.
It makes you more in demand.
Yes, it's just basic economics.
You're going to make more.
Yes. So the idea that I'm going to lose money by putting up boundaries is actually antithetical.
It's scarcity, supply and demand. Yeah.
Supply and demand, bitches.
Yes. right? If you were to go to our friend Ryan Serhant right now, okay? And I were to say I don't even know Ryan, okay? I'm a stranger. And I say, hey, Ryan, I have an idea that I want to run past you. Do you have an hour today to chat? Okay? That is an absurd ask, right?
Yep.
His answer would not be, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know this guy. But what if it leads to $1 billion project? He'd be like, no, I'm not available. Get with my team and maybe in a month you can see me for 5 minutes if you pass the background check, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever I go and speak, right, I have a Calendly link and I am very clear. First come, first serve. And I always joke that I'm Taylor Swift, right? Because people are like screaming, trying to get on my calendar. And I book out months in advance because I see 9 people a week. And if you want to see me sooner than that, I see paying customers sooner than that.
Yeah.
Right? And so that would be my advice. Number one, give yourself the grace and the ability to take care of yourself because you are the product. And number two, by limiting the amount of things you say yes to, it makes you more in demand and you more expensive. And so those are the pieces of advice I would give you because it absolutely changed my outlook and my business because I am too busy for everyone. I'm only not busy enough for a select few. And that is game changing. And that's the gospel according to Tyler.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.
But by having boundaries, it makes you more expensive.
Yes.
It makes you more in demand.
Yes, it's just basic economics.
You're going to make more.
Yes. So the idea that I'm going to lose money by putting up boundaries is actually antithetical.
It's scarcity, supply and demand. Yeah.
Supply and demand, bitches.
Yes, right? If you were to go to our friend Ryan Serhant right now, okay? And I were to say I don't even know Ryan, okay? I'm a stranger. And I say, hey, Ryan, I have an idea that I want to run past you. Do you have an hour today to chat? Okay? That is an absurd ask, right?
Yep.
His answer would not be, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know this guy. But what if it leads to $1 billion project? He'd be like, no, I'm not available. Get with my team and maybe in a month you can see me for 5 minutes if you pass the background check, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever I go and speak, right, I have a Calendly link and I am very clear. First come, first serve. And I always joke that I'm Taylor Swift, right? Because people are like screaming, trying to get on my calendar. And I book out months in advance because I see 9 people a week. And if you want to see me sooner than that, I see paying customers sooner than that.
Yeah.
Right? And so that would be my advice. Number one, give yourself the grace and the ability to take care of yourself because you are the product. And number two, by limiting the amount of things you say yes to, it makes you more in demand and you more expensive. And so those are the pieces of advice I would give you because it absolutely changed my outlook and my business because I am too busy for everyone. I'm only not busy enough for a select few. And that is game changing. And that's the gospel according to Tyler.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.